Welcome to TaNaCh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, the Twisted New Testament, or if you like, Judaism and Christianity, a contrast, by my man, Rabbi Stuart, the man in black, Federow. Welcome back. Don't smoke crack. How's that? Almost 500,000 views on that Hebrew jumpstart video. That is so cool.
In 10 months.
That is
just turned to 10 months.
That's beautiful. It is.
It's amazing.
But it's worth it though, because I mean it really is a great teaching method you came up with. And people like that. They're learning from it, and that's really great.
I hope so. I hope it's meaningful and useful.
Yep. Absolutely.
And all I had to do was charge $1 for
Oh my Lord. I know, right? Well, if you, I mean, that's kind of how I feel too. If I actually charged $1 for every, because I've got almost 30,000 subscribers, $1 for each person, $30,000 a month, I could retire both of us. So, but hey, because we're laborers of love, this is all free, and we're hoping that people who do.
I just handed to Mitch Houston my workbook.
Nice.
To practice the Hebrew, and that there will be a charge for that, but
that's good. Yeah. Right. Yep. Very good. Okay, so there we go. All right, so we have our starter topic for tonight. This is a call-in show. Number is on your screen right now. But we're gonna have a starter topic, so we don't have any dead air in the beginning. And also the date today, just for the record, November 6, 2023, keeping in mind, obviously, the war in Israel. Our prayers are with them for sure. So not leaving that out, but it's constantly on our mind. So, okay, so we are going to roll right into the topic because I think it's definitely merits talking about, because a lot of the Christians who have not come out of Christianity, they do find that it's not a fair fight, the one that we're picking with them. And that is, can't the same criticism used to debunk the New Testament also be used to debunk the TaNaCh? And that's a fair question. I didn't say it was a good question. I said it was a fair question. So
it is a fair question.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to turn this over to you. I'm going to open the phone lines, and guys, give us a call. I'll try to route some calls.
Well, stay listening, William, because I'd like you to. I'd like you to chime in on everything, but on this too.
Okay, sounds good. All right, go right ahead then.
All right, here. Look. The answer to the question is yes, but can't the same criticism used to debunk the New Testament also debunk the Old Testament? And you can use the same criticism to attack the Hebrew Scriptures as we have used the same ideas, using the same ideas that we use to attack the New Testament. But I think there's a really big difference here. And that is, and by the way, this is derived from a question that was emailed to William. And the issue that I have is that the approach the gentleman uses to his New Testament and to really his Bible is not the same approach that we use, that Judaism uses towards our TaNaCh, towards our Bible, towards the Bible. And for that reason, even though you can level the same criticism at the Hebrew Scriptures that we level at the New Testament, it's not going to have the same effect.
Right.
Let me give you an example, okay? This is the example I would use. Everybody has their pet verses. Okay, their go-to verses that they use to exemplify a point. So when I'm asked about, how do you defend the New Testament? How do you respond to the miracles Jesus performed? Whatever. My answer is always, how can you trust anything in the New Testament when there are so many contradictions from one gospel to the other gospel, or from the gospels to the book of Acts? And my go-to verses for that are the last words of Jesus. And there are probably better go-to verses, more easily explained, more easily exemplifying the inconsistency of the New Testament. So, but my go-to is usually the, what were the last words of Jesus? And there are 4 versions of the last words of Jesus. The last words Jesus. What are the last words? The last words Jesus. The last words anybody says before they die. And just to go to 2 real quick, Luke and John, they each one have words of Jesus, and then the same sentence ends, and then he gave up the ghost. So Luke, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, and then he gave up the ghost. And John is, it is finished, and he gave up the ghost. So both of them are presenting those phrases as the last words of Jesus. Okay. And my point is, how is that possibly trustworthy? They can't even agree on the last words of Jesus. So a Christian might say, who explicitly took Joseph out of the pit, the hole in the ground, and delivered him to Egypt. Remember, he was thrown into a pit by his brothers and all that stuff. So one text, now my mind just went blank. One text says it was, I forgot what it says. All right. And if you take a look at the English translations, if you take a look at the Bible, okay, one text will have one group taking Joseph out of the pit and bringing him to Egypt. And later in the text, the biblical text reads that another group takes Joseph out of the pit and takes him to Egypt. Okay. The major difference in these criticisms applied to the New Testament and applied to the Hebrew Scriptures is that Christians require the perfection of the New Testament. Christians require sola scriptura. Don't look at any commentaries. Don't look at any interpretations. Take every single verse in every single chapter of every single book of the Bible, and it must be taken literally. Evangelical, fundamentalist view of the Bible. Judaism has never been a fundamental. What is fundamentalism? Fundamentalism, by definition, means that the biblical text must be taken literally. When has Judaism ever been a fundamentalist religion? Fundamentalism does not mean fanaticism. Okay, yes, we Jews, thank God, have our fanatics too. I'm one of them. But fundamentalism doesn't mean fanaticism. Fundamentalism means every single verse must be taken literally without benefit of interpretation. Well, if that were true in Judaism, you would have, how many commentaries do we have on the TaNaCh? Okay, because ancient rabbis or even modern ones. Our belief system is not predicated on a perfect Bible or a Bible that every verse must be taken literally. Okay, if you take a look at the Hebrew, and sorry, William, I should have prepared better. But okay. If you take a look at the Hebrew of which group is it that reached into the pit and pulled out Joseph and carried him off, okay, there's a variation in the pointing, in the vowels of the two words, implying that they really weren't, that there's room for interpretation is my point. Huh. But we've never demanded perfection of our Hebrew scriptures. And, okay, here's another one. Did you know, Rabbi, that there are two different versions of the creation story? Genesis chapter 1 And a few verses into Genesis chapter 2, they're totally different. Really? Wow. I didn't know that. I mean, what are they expecting from us? Like we don't know our own Bible? Like this is something new to us? You know how many commentaries pick up on this? And because it's nothing new, we have a systematic rabbinic interpretation going back thousands of years on how to deal with these issues, on how to deal with these problems. So, and there are any number of possibilities. Okay. The second version is a better explanation. The first version is just an introduction, a cursory look at it, but the second rendition, is more detailed, more accurate. Okay. Our religion is not based on the perfection of the Bible, and when there are imperfections, that's in quotes, imperfections, there's always going to be rabbinic interpretations that show why it's not an imperfection, that give an explanation of why it says it the way it says it. So the impact of the criticism on the Hebrew Scriptures will be minimal, whereas the same type of criticism used against the New Testament, especially from a Christian perspective, is devastating because they are the ones who demand perfection. Sola scriptura. Take it literally. And it's only when you are forced to take something literally that you're going to wind up backing yourself into a corner and painting yourself into a corner you'll never get out of. That's what I always say. Choose your theology very carefully because it will paint you into a corner that you will never get out of. So look, everybody's going to have their own answer. That's my answer.
Right.
You could use the same criticism to debunk the Hebrew Scriptures, but it's not going to debunk it.
I think, in my humble opinion, I don't think that they could use the same critique because
can try.
Because the New Testament requires the Old Testament. I hate calling it the Old Testament, but that's what Christians call it.
Right.
But that's they require the Old Testament. The Old Testament doesn't require the New Testament. So really, it's kind of up to them to prove their authenticity, not ours.
But it becomes our requirement to prove our authenticity, and we can.
Right, absolutely.
They're not going to show.
Right.
How many thousands of years have Jews been examining and poring over and reading and studying and critiquing our own text? Why do you think when Rashi or any commentator comes up with something that they're going to comment on, it's because they see an issue in the text that they want to resolve. And they do resolve it.
Right.
So, to debunk the New Testament causes titanic waves,
right?
Tidal waves in Christianity, and criticism debunking the Hebrew Scriptures. The Jews are going to go, oh, well, let me look it up. Let me see what others have said.
Yep.
And there'll be something there.
I will tell you today, which was really amazing. We did Mark chapter 8 with Rabbi Michael Skoback, and just in that one chapter alone, I was just amazed at how many horrible contradictions that he brought out, showing proof text of that the New Testament debunks itself. You don't even need the TaNaCh or what they would call the Hebrew Scriptures to debunk the New Testament. It debunks itself because there's so many contradictions and flaws in it that they believe is inerrant. They believe it's Holy Spirit breathed the entire thing. Yeah. So that's pretty wild. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move right on into our first caller of the night. Caller, you're live. Hold on a second, man. Caller, you're live on the air. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from.
It's the Madman Mark from
Madman Mark, who's not so mad after all. Welcome back. How are you?
Yeah. Hi. Shalom, William. Shalom, Rabbi.
Hi.
All right, he can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's my question. And I'll put a little backstory to it. why did Peter deny Jesus 3 times? And my feeling on this was Peter was a wuss, I
He
mean,
was a
if you
scaredy
know
cat.
the
Yeah,
reward,
right.
yeah, if you know the reward is heaven,
Yeah,
so you check out early. Big deal.
right.
But come on. I mean, he was a wuss. Judas betrayed Jesus, and he decided to off himself because he couldn't live with the guilt.
Depends on which version you read, but go ahead.
Right.
Yeah. And, I don't get it, Why? Why deny this guy that you were buddy-buddy with your entourage of guy friends and all these people, and you deny Jesus? I don't know this guy. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, come on.
Right. I will tell you this, as I mentioned earlier before I took this call, Mark, you can stay on the phone for a minute. In a minute, I'll have to hang up to clear phone lines. But so this morning on Mark chapter 8 with Rabbi Skobach, Rabbi Skobach brought up the point that I never saw before, because you tend to overlook things whenever you're not really paying attention very well. But in Mark chapter 8, verse 29, I'll just put it on your screen here so everybody can see it. Let me see if I can do that without having too many ads show up. Come on. I need that. Okay, here we go. They're on your screen now. Okay. Whenever Peter asked, it says, Jesus asked Peter, says, after he said, "Who does the people say I am?" Now, this is very important because, it says in the TaNaCh that whenever the Messiah comes, that everybody will know from the least to the greatest. So that no one will have to ask him, hey, know the Messiah, because everybody will know. And, that's very plain and clear in TaNaCh. But here, before I get to the Peter part, it said, Jesus went out and asked his disciples in the towns of Caesarea and Philippi, by the way of disciples, and saying unto them, who do men say that I am? And they answered, John the Baptist, but some say Elijah, and others say the prophets. The point is, this right here just debunks Jesus right off the bat, or as a Messiah, because the prophecy says that everyone will know. But here they're saying no one knows, right? But here's the key point. It says, and he said unto him, but who do you say that I am, Peter? And Peter answered and said to him, you are the Christ. Now, he didn't say you're God, you're the Son of God.
Right.
He said you're the Christ, you are the Messiah. That's all he said.
Right.
So I never saw this in my whole Christian life before, but Peter never believed that Jesus was God, according to this, or the Son of God. He just believed that he might be the Messiah that God had promised from the Old Testament. That blows my mind even right now. I never saw that before. That's crazy. Rabbi?
A couple of things. First, to immediately respond to the passage you're referring to.
Okay.
First of all, Peter says you're the Messiah.
I just took it off, by the way. Sorry, I'll put it back on for you.
And then, and I noticed, and that doesn't matter. And then, what does Jesus say? But don't tell anybody.
Oh yeah, right.
And then, and what does he say later in his life? At least according to one, if not more, of the Gospels. I never did anything in secret.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
See, another issue and don't hang up. But another issue that goes to what we were saying before is that they might be able to critique the Hebrew Scriptures here and there, a little bit here. Okay, nothing of which is going to be major, but there are so many things to criticize in the New Testament that it frankly makes all of it call into question.
Yeah.
So when our caller, refers to Judas killing himself, or just the whole story that he's referring to, we have no reason to believe that these stories are historical fact. Right. That Judas betrayed him.
Yeah.
And he just happens to have the name that sounds like Judah, like Jew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The caller mentioned something about Judas killing himself. Yeah, but you know how many difficulties, how many contradictions there are in the Gospels defining how
That's exactly right.
Judas did that.
They do not agree.
I mean, these stories are so varied that it calls into question their validity, their legitimacy, their accuracy.
And yet they would call them the synoptic gospels.
Yeah.
Right. Not the contradictory gospels.
Synoptic.
Yeah.
Like sin onim or sin optic. Yeah. Fitting to be seen together.
But if I remember correctly, earlier Peter says, "No, I would never deny you." And then Judas says whatever it was about the crow. Well, I don't remember exactly.
Right. Yeah, I have problems remembering stuff too. So he and you're saying, why did he deny him? Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you a question, because I'm not clear on this. Both of you might be able to help me on this. When Peter is first asked, okay, didn't I see you with this guy? Or however that's worded. What would have been the problem if Peter would have said, "Oh yeah, he and I were walking together over there"? What was he afraid of would happen to him?
I think he was afraid that he would be flogged also and be taken captive with him.
Why? Just because he knows him?
Well, when the uprisal was so great against Jesus at that time, absolutely.
I just think that's a stretch.
Huh.
I just think that's a stretch. Then why didn't they find out from all bunches of people who the disciples of this man was, and then round them up?
Well, didn't they have that opportunity whenever Jesus was like in the middle of the night?
Exactly, but they didn't do it.
Right.
They had the opportunities, if you believe the stories.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, they all fled into hiding. It's like, oh no, Jesus has been arrested. We gotta skip town or something, like, oh.
Right. Huh.
Then why were they still around in order to be asked, in order to do the denials? I just think the whole story is very suspect, and I think it's one more time where the disciples are insulted by the author of the Gospels.
Yeah.
Mark, Jesus does the loaves and fishes.
Mark, go ahead and hang up now and tune in for the rest of the answer. Thank you for your call, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You betcha. Uh-huh.
Bye.
All right. Jesus does the thing with the loaves and fishes, and the disciples don't believe he can do it. And then a couple of pages later, he has to do the things with the loaves and fishes again when he's got fewer people to feed and more loaves and fishes to start out with, and the disciples still don't think he can do it.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, it's like the purpose of the Gospels is to portray the disciples as idiots. And I think this made-up story about Peter denying Jesus 3 times is to show that Jesus could tell prophecy and the future, and also to show the disciples as being idiots. Okay, if you want to take the story on face value, then I agree with him. I think it just shows him to be, in terror. Although, again, I'm still not quite sure what for. Because, I know him. Does that make me, I don't see the issue.
Man, I really challenge the New Testament viewers out there when they're seeing this to just stop taking everything as fact and start opening your eyes and see what's up. If I tell you to take I-35 north to go to West Texas, and you get on I-35 north, you're traveling forever. You're going to find out eventually that I-35 north does not go to West Texas. so don't just take anybody's word for it. And if I say take County Road 112 to hit Walmart, but it's loaded with potholes, which is kind of what we're seeing here with the New Testament is so many potholes here. But people take it with gratitude, and they're so happy with it because they don't see the dang potholes all over this place. It's crazy. It's really wild. Okay, well, let's move right on into our next caller. Caller, you are live in the air. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Brian, not from Massachusetts.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back.
Yes, this is Brian, now in Florida. How you guys doing?
Welcome back, brother. How are you?
Doing well. My question is about Exodus 23, verses 20 and 21. basically the angel of the Lord, something we hear nonstop from Christians. They basically claim that the angel of the Lord could have forgiven sins, and so did Jesus in the New Testament. They love to interpret the angel of the Lord as Jesus. My superficial understanding of it is that the angel, it says that he will not forgive sins, but the Christians will say, oh, see, it says will not cannot, so therefore he could, but he just won't. For me, that doesn't even seem merciful. If this angel, which is Jesus, had the ability to forgive the Israelites, why wouldn't he? Why do Christians interpret this as the angel of the Lord? And is forgiveness something exclusive to God alone? Basically my question.
That's a great question. Okay, go ahead and hang them down too if you answer. Thank you so much for your call, Brian.
Yes, sir.
All right. Guys, 855-952-4253. Call in with your New Testament questions. All right. Rabbi, take it away.
Wait a minute. He said Exodus 23.
I've got it already. I'm on screen right now. Did you see my screen highlighted?
Okay, I was trying to find it on my own. Okay.
Don't look at the YouTube video. I actually shared my screen with you on your computer privately.
I got it.
Okay. All right, cool. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him.
But that's
the question, though. So now we need your
look.
explanation.
Maybe I have just a weird way of seeing everything, but that's not how I read this at all.
Okay.
Okay. Which translation is this?
King James.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Let me pull up. Come on.
In other words, William, if I say the following, okay, if I say to somebody else, you need to respect William. You need to do what he says because you, because,
I got you right here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you could have stuck with it. Yeah. Okay.
23 verse 21. Okay, 21. I was in the wrong verse. All right, there we go. So here we are.
And move it over because part of it's missing.
Oh, it sure did. I'm sorry, guys. There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Oops. Wait. Okay.
All right. Beware of him and obey him. Let's say him who's...
Right. For my angel to go before you.
I'm sending an angel before you to guard you on the way and bring you to the place that I have prepared. Beware of him and obey him. Do not rebel against him, for he will not forgive your transgression, for my name is in him.
Right. But if I say to somebody, okay, listen to William, do what he says, don't disrespect him because he will not forgive what you do. That has nothing to do with me.
Right.
That has nothing to do with saying that by disobeying him, rebelling against him, disrespecting him, that you've done that to me. It's his permission to not forgive somebody who did something against him. And when it says my name is within him, that means he has the authority to command.
Right.
But when he will not forgive your transgression, he's not forgiving your transgression against God, he's forgiving your transgression against him.
Right.
That's how I see this. So I don't see how that applies to Jesus at all, because they're saying Jesus was God, and therefore, as God, Jesus has the right to forgive.
Right.
And that's not what this is saying.
And furthermore, even if that was the claim, you can't. If Peter claimed the same thing, there might be a New Testament verse. There's not. I'm just saying Peter could have said the same thing, but it wouldn't validate it though, because anybody could claim that, but it really has to come from TaNaCh. So anybody claiming in the New Testament has other things that they have to be proven by, and obviously Jesus did not qualify in that regard in any shape or fashion. So, okay, cool. Hopefully that was a good answer.
It just seems it's very clear he's saying obey him,
right?
Because he will not forgive for what you transgress against him.
It's nothing unlike a business where you have just a small business, even a manager,
right?
And the manager hired an assistant manager, and the manager doesn't want to have to deal with all that stuff. The assistant manager will take care of all the garbage activities.
Right, but
and it says if you don't tick off the assistant manager, because if they fire you, don't come crying to me, because he has the authority to fire you.
That's what it's saying.
Yeah, right. Very good.
So I think it's a quantum leap to talk about
that's
how this all of a sudden applies to Jesus.
Very good. Rev Robbins, welcome back, brother. What's up?
Hey guys. I hope you guys are doing well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So my question is, first I wanted to say, I have done Yeshua and repented of it.
Teshuvah, yes,
but
sir.
For the longest time, and it was just the way I was raised and the way I was taught and all that, I held a resentment in my heart towards the Jewish people. And like I said, I've repented and I've done Yeshua.
Teshuvah.
I'm sorry, you know what I mean.
You're thinking yeshiva.
I've asked for forgiveness.
You're good, brother. Take it away.
I've asked for forgiveness.
Yes.
But anyway, and the reason, I'm assuming, I'm thinking it's because I was always taught that the Jews, that they thought that they were, the chosen people, that they were the, God's only pick, his first love and all that, and us Gentiles were, as Jesus put it, the dogs that ate from the crumbs of the table, of the Jews' table, the children's table. So I guess my question, Rabbi, is, if I don't have any inclination of converting, I honestly don't think I could do it. I was not a very good Christian, and I know to become a Jew, that would be, a really big step, and it's irreversible, and there's a lot of things I would have to do, and I'd hate to screw it up. So I guess, what can I, a Gentile, like what is my purpose that God needs, me to do and wants me to do, besides just, following and, not killing anyone and paying my people on time and, not eating from an already alive animal and stuff I'm what I'm trying, I guess I'm out of the honeymoon phase of,
sure,
getting, converting or not converting, but doing away with Christianity and following the true God of Israel. So now I'm just kind of like, okay, well, if I'm not going to be a Jew, what?
Let me ask you a question, Rev. Let me ask you a
yeah.
question, Rev. What do you think it means for the Jewish people? What do you think it means to be a light to the nation?
I don't know.
Now that is for the Jewish. That's not a commandment to the Jewish people. That's for them. But what do you think that means? And the reason why I'm asking that is because you, as a Ben Noach, as a what the majority nowadays is calling a Noahide, that's kind of what we're doing also, right? Being a light to the nation isn't door knocking like Christians do and like the Jehovah's Witnesses do. That's not being a light to the nations. That's called invading people's privacy. So I use this example of like walking in the dark with a really powerful flashlight at nighttime. If you're walking and there's somebody else outside walking and they see you have a flashlight and they don't, they'll see your flashlight from afar. Not because you shine it in their face, but because they saw the light of what you were doing. And then they'll come over and ask you, can I have some of your light? And then boom, you did exactly what you needed to do. So that is in essence being a light to the nations. And as a Ben Noach or a Noahide, we have that ability to do the same thing. Because when you lead somebody out of idolatry, that's a great thing.
Okay. Because I was a Pentecostal minister, so I know all the rhetoric and stuff like that, and I used to, and I used to really enjoy, doing the spiel and the he and the ha and the, I used to enjoy that stuff, and I was thinking,
right,
if I could do that, but for the right side, that would be,
yep.
But then would I be, eating from the tree of the poisonous fruit?
May I respond too, please?
I sure hope so. Take it away.
Here's my answer. Besides everything you've already said, okay, there's a couple of things that I would add to it, okay, that I would hope you would at least consider doing. First, and maybe foremost, is when you are in a group of people who are not Jewish and you hear them disrespecting, putting down, insulting Judaism and or the Jewish people, that you open your mouth and you come to their defense. And you say, no, that's not what they believe.
Yes.
You clarify what they believe, and you show what they believe.
Yeah.
And you say, I know what they believe, and you're wrong. And don't be afraid to do that. And it's becoming increasingly more difficult to do that.
That's a
but
great
what I'm
point.
asking you to is at least consider doing that.
That's a really great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's one more thing that I think is important, vitally important, and I'm still waiting for Williams.
Well, you're still waiting for what?
What do you think? Your book.
You lost me. You're asking. You said you're waiting for what I think.
Your book.
I don't have a book.
That's my point.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I see what you mean. Okay, cool.
In other words, I wish you would consider.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You've heard me say it a billion times. Half the people here probably have.
Right.
I wish you would write a book about your personal experiences about being in the Pentecostal movement or any other movement of Christianity that you were in, any denomination, about what it did for you, what it did not do for you, how it helped you, how it hurt you. I wish you would write about what made you start asking questions. I wish you'd write about what questions you started asking. Yeah. I wish you'd write about the answers that you got from the Christian community and why you did not feel they were good enough, or a good enough answer is what I'm saying. Right. I wish you would write about how you came to, however it happened, to the Jewish community, and to at least listen to what Judaism actually believed instead of what you're told it believed. I wish you would write about your experiences with Jews. I wish you would write about your whole spiritual journey that brought you to today and beyond. And here's why I say that's important. If William writes the same thing, which I eventually hope he will, his story may not touch someone where yours will.
Right. Yes.
His story may not have the effect that yours will have on someone who reads both of yours. Okay? And I've said this a million times. In the earliest days of the quote-unquote Jews for Jesus, they didn't care who wrote a pamphlet for them, what they called a broadside. Okay, this was an 8.5 by 11, folded in thirds. Okay, folded in thirds, and then it became a pamphlet that you would read.
Right.
And it was clever, and it was cutesy, and it was well done. Gotta hand it to them. But they didn't care who wrote it, because they trusted the message. Because they said, where somebody's not going to like this broadside, they'll like that broadside.
That's true.
And I wish the Jews would do the same thing. I wish the Jewish, the B'nai Noach community, I wish everybody would do the same thing, because there's not a lot of stuff out there. It's hard to access. It's hard to find. And people are searching for religion. They're searching for God.
Yeah.
And whether it's B'nai Noach or fully to convert to Judaism, okay, either one can offer a meaningful life to whoever starts listening and obeying God. I can't put it any other way.
Right.
Okay? There's a thirst out there, and your book and other people's books who are also here in chat, and William's book, can help lead people to the fountain to quench that thirst.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wish you'd defend the Jewish people when it comes up, and I wish you'd really consider writing a book about your personal journey.
It would be interesting, because I've been involved with a cult before. I've handled rattlesnakes before in a Pentecostal church.
Wow.
I've done a lot of crazy things.
It's not crazy.
That I thought was in the name of God.
It's not crazy. It's what brought you to this point in your life.
No, it's crazy, all right.
And somebody can pick that book up and say, oh my God, this is me. He's giving the answers to the questions I've been asking.
Yeah.
And Sharon,
man, thank you guys.
I hope you do the same
Rev,
thing.
thank you for your call, brother.
Yes, sir. God, I thank you guys. Love you. And we'll just, I'm gonna take your advice, and I'm definitely gonna defend Israel. And I told you I found a one of those that we were talking about the other day about to try to contribute and stuff like that, because he blesses those who blesses Israel. So
right.
Hey man, thank you guys. You guys have a good day, okay?
You bet. You bet. All right, very good. That's cool. Yeah. So another thing you can do out there, not just Rev, but everybody. If you've got a lot of secular friends or even Christian friends, man, you can buy things that are pro-Israel and put them up in your house. Get them to start asking questions. Put a Star of David flag, up on your wall or something. I don't know. It's kind of dramatic, but that's what we have. So it kind of worked for us. But okay, so that was the last caller we had online. Rabbi, did you want to discuss anything particularly?
Well, I saw a couple of things on the chat, but I got to find them again.
Yeah, I actually
should have written them down.
I hid the chat because there was so much going on. I was finding it distracting me from paying attention to what y'all were saying, and I kind of hid the chat for a little bit. So guys, tag me and my mods out there. Would you tag TaNaCh if there's a question you notice it's there? I did see somebody. There's a new viewer out there named David, I think. Yeah, David Mueller. Let's see.
Timestamp.
7:40 p.m. Okay, so that wasn't Christo. Who did that? Okay, somebody blocked his comment. Jesus lives. It wasn't Christo. It was. Oh gosh.
7:40. Okay.
Wally. Okay, hold on. Wally Cleaver. So, all right, Wally. We don't have you in the Facebook chat group to discuss how we're handling the chat rules. So, somebody saying Jesus lives is not a violation of the chat rules. That can stay out there. So, that being said, I'm going to read you a few comments that David Mueller has said, and we can use that to build a question or build a topic to discuss. Yeah, Wally deleted a lot of stuff. Okay, so yeah, Wally, the post, the chat rules are pinned at the top. Review those, and as long as nobody's violating those chat rules, and none of these are violations of the chat rules. People's putting up their statement of faith, I don't care. That's fine, as long as they're being polite about it. Even if they copy and paste it, I don't really care. As long as they're being polite. So, all right, so there's that. Let me go back here and unhide that. I can't get my finger on it. There it goes. Okay. 1 second. Y'all bear with me. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let me find them. It's a red circle with the letter D in it. A lot of these got deleted by Wally. Good to see you back, Wally, by the way. He's one of my mods out here as well. Let me see. Okay, Larry, it said, man, every time I try to read it, a box pops up. It says, Larry, it says in Psalms where Jesus went to Sheol. Okay. And then another one says, Isaiah 53, Jesus suffers. We could really just do a full package deal on answering David Mueller because he seems to be searching for sure. Hopefully we didn't hide him on the channel because it looks like it went back and deleted all of these.
Well, we do have one real quick easy, and that's Kim Burley asks, is there heaven in Judaism? Yes.
Okay, so David Mueller, articulate a question for me and put it there in chat. I'm going to go back and continue reviewing your comments here to try to just build a little conversation starter for us. So, yeah, it looks like all of your comments were deleted.
Did they erase them?
Okay, so no, I think Wally has gone in and deleted.
I haven't seen a David Mueller.
David Mueller. It's a red circle with
Mueller.
Red circle with a D in it. Okay, there was a question here that says, "Will Jesus come back soon?" Why don't we just stick with that? That would be good. Will Jesus come back soon? And I'm going to let you take that because that's just...
It assumes he was here the way they think he was here the first time around. He wasn't.
And he already came back the second time, as we all know.
Yeah, when he was resurrected. According to Christian theology, he was resurrected. So, So is he going to come back? He wasn't here the first time the way you think he was here.
Right.
So, there's an old joke about when Jesus comes, when the Messiah comes, they're going to say, were you here before or not?
Right.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not going to ask that because anybody can say, oh, yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. That was me. Uh-huh. Prove it. Go prove it or go disprove it. You can't. Right. Either way. It's a non-provable, what's the word? There's a word for that. You can't prove it happened. You can't prove it's true. Can't prove it's not true. So if somebody says, yeah, I was here before, the Messiah is known by what he actually does in the real world, the world that everybody can see and feel and hear and touch and take. In other words, perceived by their own senses, their own five senses. Everybody on planet Earth will know. Okay. And if a person comes and doesn't do everything the real Messiah is supposed to do, he's not the Messiah. But I'm sure there'll be people, I'm sure there have been people.
Look at the last comment.
Who say,
just popped up.
I was here before. What?
Last comment just popped up. 746, David Moeller. My pastor told me Jesus is coming back.
He suffered in Isaiah 53. In Isaiah 63, he's mentioned. He's the Trinity in Isaiah 48. Well, of course your minister told you that. He's a Christian. He believes it. We Jews reject it outright because we know the Bible. But of course your pastor's going to tell you that.
Yeah.
That's what makes him a Christian.
So I'm not sure. I would like to have you take a minute or two and show some TaNaCh references to David, because I don't think I've ever seen him here before. Somebody said he was here before, but I think he's definitely searching. So,
what verses? What do you mean?
Rather than just saying he's wrong, let's prove it wrong by bringing up TaNaCh and showing him TaNaCh why it's wrong.
Okay.
He suffered in Isaiah 53 and Isaiah 63.
Yeah, well, everybody suffers, so right. Suffering doesn't mean anything.
He's the Trinity in Isaiah 48, 12 through 16. Let's go there. I'm not sure I heard that before. Trinity in Isaiah 48, 12 through 16. Let's look that up. All right. 48, 12 through 16. Let me go here. I had to open up a new tab here. Sorry about my nasally. It's kind of hard to control.
Okay. Want to do a real quickie?
Sure.
Okay. You can take these down if you want, somebody, whoever. But, okay, the real Messiah has to have a direct bloodline descent traceable back to King David through the Messiah's own biological human father. How do we know it's got to go through the father? Numbers chapter 1, verse 18, and it says, they declare their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Okay, but Jesus, according to Christianity, his father was not human. His father was the Holy Spirit. Therefore, he cannot trace his lineage back to King David. And even though they might claim that Mary was a descendant of King David, they will say this is proven by the Gospel of Luke, that Luke is actually about Mary, where Matthew is about Joseph. The problem, of course, is that according to the Bible, let's take a look at 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12 to 17. Okay, 2 Samuel chapter 7, 12 to 17. Okay, it talks about how the kingship can only go through Solomon, the son of King David. It says that in 12, it says that in 17. Your house and your kingdom shall be established forever before you. Your throne shall be established forever. And it's through your son who will build the house for God's name, which is Solomon. He built the temple. 1 Chronicles 22, 9 to 10 says basically the same thing. Behold, a son shall be born to you who shall be a man of rest. I will give him rest from all his enemies round about, for his name shall be Solomon. What does that have to do with rest? The word Solomon is shalomo. You hear the word shalom, which is peace, in the name. Okay, so that's the tie-in. And I will give peace, shalom, and quietness to Israel in his days. He shall build a house for my name. He shall be my son. I will be his father. I will establish the throne of his kingdom over Israel forever. So, and by the way, Solomon's dad was not God or through the Holy Spirit. So this is no imagery, images of somehow reflecting God being the Father, and it's actually about Jesus. So don't even try. Okay. By the way, if 1 Chronicles 22, 9 and 10 explicitly state that the kingship has to go through Solomon, please take a look at the Gospel of Luke chapter 3, verse 32, where it traces the lineage of Joseph, who wasn't even the biological father of Jesus. It traces Joseph's lineage through Nathan, the half-brother of Solomon, another son of David. Oops! So according to Luke, that they say is the lineage of Mary, it doesn't help his case any, because because Joseph, who wasn't even the father of Jesus, is tracing his lineage back through Nathan, the wrong son of King David. Okay, a little bit complicated, but 1 Chronicles 3 traces the kings from Josiah to Jehoiakim, from Jehoiakim to Jeconiah, from Jeconiah to Shealtiel. But what does it say about that group in Jeremiah 22? It says in 22:30, speaking of, Jeconiah or possibly even Jehoiakim, write him down as if he is childless, a man who shall not prosper his days. No man of his seed shall prosper, sitting on the throne of David and ruling over Judah, which is what the real Messiah will do. He will sit on the throne of King David and rule over Judah among actually the whole world. But Matthew chapter 1 verse 11 and 12 and Luke chapter 3 verse 27 happen to trace the lineage of Joseph, who wasn't even the father of Jesus, through Jeconiah and Shealtiel, part of the cursed line that was cursed in Jeremiah 22:30. Christians will say, oh, but Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel, he was the ruler of Judah. No, he wasn't. He did not rule absolute sovereign ruler sitting on the throne of David. For example, Haggai, the prophet Haggai, when it speaks of Zerubbabel, always says Zerubbabel, the governor of Judah. It doesn't say the king. So he may have been elevated in respect for his helping to construct the temple, but he was never king. So, okay. What are the things the real Messiah will do when the real Messiah comes that Jesus did none of which? Okay, he's preceded by Elijah the prophet, not somebody that Jesus claims was Elijah, but actually Elijah. And remember John chapter 1 verse 21, when they asked John the Baptist, are you Elijah? He said he wasn't. Wouldn't he know? Okay, all right. So King David's dynasty is really established because the Messiah has his own children. Daniel 7:13-14, I saw in the night visions, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, came to the Ancient of Days, brought him near before him. So they're bringing this person, this human, before God, and was given to him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So this person, like a son of man, was presented before God, and they gave to this human being dominion, glory, and kingdom. Well, wait a minute. If Jesus were God and the earth is the eternals and all therein, then how can they give him something he already owns if Jesus were God? Okay. Second of all, it says all people, nations, and languages should serve him. Jesus made it explicitly clear that Jesus came to serve others, not to be served, but the real Messiah, according to Daniel 7:13-14, will be served by all people, all nations, and all languages. Okay. Second thing, third thing, whichever one we're on now. Okay. What was it? Again, if Jesus was God, you may remember the passage in the Christian New Testament, passages in the Christian New Testament where the devil tempts Jesus and says, I will give you this land, I will give you this kingdom, which means that the devil didn't even recognize Jesus as being God because God would have already owned it. Okay. The real Messiah will bring an eternal peace between all nations, an eternal peace between all peoples, an eternal peace between all people. Okay. Isaiah 2:2-4, Micah chapter 4, verse 1-4. Okay. Ezekiel 39:9, where it says it'll take them 7 years to get rid of all the weapons of war. On the other hand, Jesus in Matthew 10:34-36, don't think that I have come to bring peace. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies are going to be those of his own household. The exact opposite of what the real Messiah will do when the real Messiah comes. Okay, that he came to bring a sword and not peace. Okay, Gentiles are going to come to Judaism, or at least to monotheism. Jeremiah 31, 27 to 30. Okay, I'm going to. It's taking too much time. I'm going to go look these up yourself. Okay. By the way, Jeremiah 31, 30 is very interesting because it says 29:30. In those days they shall no more say, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, but the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own sin. Every man that eats the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. That immediately precedes Jeremiah 31:31, which means that part of the same prophecy of Jeremiah 31 is that when the real Messiah comes, the stupid idea that one person can die for someone else's sins is no longer going to be believed in. Okay, Zechariah 8:23. Okay, 10 men shall take hold of all languages. The nations shall take hold of the skirt of one that is a Jew and say, we will go with you, for we've heard that God is with you. It doesn't say Messianics. It doesn't say Christians. It says take hold of the skirt of the Jew. Okay. Zechariah 14:16, Zechariah 14:9, Isaiah 11:9. Okay. No more idolatry in the world, Zechariah 13:2, because they'll all start believing in God. Universal recognition that the Jewish idea of God is God, Isaiah 11:9. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the eternal as the waters cover the sea. Sorry, McDonald's. Sorry, Burger King. The world becomes vegetarian. Isaiah 11:6-9. Go ahead and read it. All 12 tribes will be gathered to Israel, Ezekiel 36:24, Isaiah 43:5-6. The temple will be rebuilt. This is the third temple, Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. Ezekiel 37:26-28 is a good example. No more famine, Ezekiel 36:29-30. Death will cease, Isaiah 25:8. Resurrection of the dead, Isaiah 26:19. Your dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Daniel chapter 2, verse 12. Daniel chapter 12, verse 2. Ezekiel 37:12-13. Isaiah 43, verses 5-6. Okay. Nations will help the Jews materially. Isaiah 60, verses 5-6. Isaiah 60, 10-12. Isaiah 61:6. Eternal joy and gladness will characterize the Jewish people. No more weeping and wailing at all our persecutions, because there will never be any more. Isaiah 51:11. Jews will be sought for spiritual guidance. We just read that. Zechariah 8:23. All weapons of war shall be destroyed. We already talked about that. Ezekiel 39:9. Ezekiel 39:12. The Nile runs dry. Isaiah 11:15. The Eternal shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it into 7 streams, and make men go over it dry shod. Trees yield their fruit monthly in Israel, Ezekiel 47, verse 12. Each tribe of Israel receives its inheritance, Ezekiel 47, 13-14. And finally, of course, the nations of the earth will recognize that they have been wrong. They will recognize that the Jews have been right. They will recognize that everything the Gentiles did to the Jewish people was sin. And they will realize that the Jews suffered because of their sin. They died because of their sin. And the Jews have borne the sins and persecutions and murders of Jews that the Gentiles committed. And that's the real meaning of Isaiah 53. So try to do it quickly, but those are the things that...
No, that was very quick,
Testament.
but also
every
very.
So often we have to do this because somebody.
No, that was also very thorough. Appreciate that very much. Okay, so one final question. We're going to go with this one here. Okay, so truthitarian question: when Messiah comes, will all the nations be under the Torah?
The answer to your question is yes. But remember, the Torah does not demand that everybody
keep all of the Torah.
Keeps all 613 laws.
Right.
But the Torah does talk about the 7 laws of Noah, and yes, that everybody will be keeping, because they will recognize God as God. They will recognize God, behind the real Messiah, because if God's behind you, you can do anything, and they will come to the truth. So that's believing in the Torah, that's following the Torah, but it doesn't mean the whole Torah applies to them, because what does it say in the 10 Commandments? I am the eternal your God who led you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Gentiles weren't in the land of Egypt, and they weren't in the house of bondage. They weren't saved by God. So the 10 Commandments are not directed towards the non-Jews. They're directed towards the Jews. They're supposed to keep those 10 Commandments. They're the 10 Commandments, okay? But the Bible is the relationship between God and the Jews. So the question is a little strangely worded. I hope my answer clarified.
Well, hopefully this will clarify a more in-depth reason for the question. I don't know his reasons, but I know it's one worthy of bringing up out of my own thoughts, is will there be sacrifices? And we know, according to Ezekiel, that the Messiah himself will be offering sacrifices for, right? Can you explain a little bit about that? Because I'm not really...
Well, if I remember correctly, the Messiah himself is offering sacrifices. I don't remember if it's his own personal sin or the sins of the individuals. I think those sacrifices are purification, to purify the area of the...
But that would still suggest that the
tabernacle.
Torah is still being kept in the Messianic era, basically.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
But that would also very much imply that the Torah is being kept in the Messianic era, for sure.
Right, by the Jews.
Right.
Okay, and can Jews offer sacrifices in the temple? They did.
Right.
So
Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be a good wrap. I'm pretty exhausted. Been having
that's fine.
breathing
I'm happy.
Garbage going on.
I hope everybody else is happy. We try our best.
Absolutely. Very good. Okay, guys, reach Rabbi Stuart Federow. If you want to go check out that video, it's on YouTube. I'll try to remember to put the link below, but just look up Hebrew Jumpstart in YouTube. It'll be the first one that pops up. It's a great teaching video. And then also, if you have any questions regarding that, whether you want information on it or how to get video number 2 or things like that, just send it to, you can go to HebrewJumpstart@gmail.com. That'll also help you remember the name of the video, Hebrew Jumpstart. And then questions for the show, RabbiStuart@hotmail.com, or whatjesusbelieve.org. You can find his books there, Judaism and Christianity in Contrast. He has 3 languages available.
Take a look at the books listed on the bottom of the this thing. Okay.
Oh, yeah, in the video description of this video. Yep, very good point. I forgot about that. Very good. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great day. Thank you for the mods out there kicking tail and taking names. So appreciate all your hard work and your diligence. So you guys are awesome. Have a great weekend. Rabbi, all goes well. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Peace, everybody.
Please God.
Shalom, shalom. Bye.
Shalom, my dear friends. Hope this message finds you well. If you like the way this channel is going and the channel has been a blessing to you, please consider supporting the channel by going to the website, TaNaChTalk.com. TaNaChTalk.com. Thank you once again for your time and for supporting TaNaCh Talk. Shalom.
חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה